Welcome back to another episode of Tales from the Rift. I'm Mo Soleil, and joining me today, I got Mr. Matthew.
Hey, y'all.
Formerly of Void.
Ex-member of Void. Happy to be here.
But we still love them all the same.
Yep.
And joining us today, we got Angel, Jorge, and Nick of fucking Labyrinth. What's going on, dudes?
Thank you for having us. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
What he said. Or his computer is collapsing.
Oh my god.
The look of distraught on Jorge's face right now.
Pure bewilderment.
The last face you see before death.
That is the face of God.
There he is.
My computer sucks. Look.
But hey, we
can
can hear you now, Jorge. You good?
I hate this.
Oh, blue screen of death.
Oh, blue screen. So, how y'all guys doing, man? How was y'all weekend?
It was pretty good. We just got back from playing at the White Swan down in Houston. That show was pretty fun. Originally, we had some drummer fill in for us, but some things kind of didn't work out. So we originally we're gonna have all of us up there with Jorge back singing and on guitar. But in Louisiana, we ended up doing this 3-piece thing where it was Angel on guitar, Jorge singing, and he was on drums, and then me on bass. Oh, wow. So we ended up doing that same lineup, and it worked out pretty well, and we had a good time. So that's how we've been doing all right.
Yeah, it was stupid, but it worked. I didn't think that it was gonna work actually, but it did work, and we were happy with it.
Hey, man, it worked really well for Atmosphere in Lafayette. I mean, the crowd loved you guys, but also they don't get a lot of metal coming around here. But still, you guys were amazing.
Oh, Matt is there.
Yeah,
he was
right.
Because everything was so crazy that my computer was crashing, and I don't know what happened.
Yeah, we lost the visual on you, but we got Matt right here.
Hey, Matt, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man.
Matt doesn't realize how close he is from getting his leprosy shirt stolen from him.
Dude, okay, so like my sister got this shirt for me like on Christmas, and I was like, thank you, that's very thoughtful. And everyone loves it for some reason. I'm just kind of like on it because it's just a logo on a white T-shirt. I mean,
it's still Death's
Cool
leprosy
logo,
though.
man.
True.
It's Death's logo.
It's still a longer sleeve.
yeah.
Can't
But
go wrong with a little bit of death.
actually, I tried to steal it too.
Oh, when you slept over at my house after Exodus?
Yeah. Well, you didn't come after. Oh, yeah, you were there. Never mind. I thought you were not there at Aaron's house when we were there.
Yeah, I was. I was there for a little bit.
So, how long has Labyrinth been a band?
Okay, so Labyrinth, the entire project just started like 2 years ago in my head. But like officially Labyrinth started this year in January.
Okay.
Like we had the idea already with Hayden Masters, that is a drummer that he's not here right now. We started putting up the band in 2021. Like I had the plan since I just got here to the US that it was like 2020.
Mm-hmm.
But we started working with him like, I think it was mid 2021 or something like that. And then I already knew Tommy at the time that it was our bassist, and we're just needing a guitarist, a lead guitarist,
Right.
And we tried like 4 guitarists, and nobody fucking was able to make it until we found Angel, the guy that has the Mexican flag over there. And why we cannot see you?
Over here.
We only
yeah,
see
okay.
like your eyes.
We barely see him.
So the thing is that oh, okay, I thought that was his chair.
I have a chair.
I thought that was just your chair, but it's your face.
Thanks, Jorge. I appreciate it. Good to know that my face looks like a chair.
It's
So the thing is
silhouetted just perfectly with the headphones.
Yeah. Actually, I literally thought that it was a chair, and then I just see it moving, and I thought you were moving the chair.
Damn.
Okay, the thing is that we found Angel in December. Like, we became friends first We met each other at the show, and actually he came to the show thanks to other friend we have, and then we just started talking, and we just talked and talked and talked, and at some point, we collided to each other and we jammed, and I was like, yeah, come and audition for the band, or let's practice something and jam and see what's going on. And he was like the only guitarist who learned the songs of all the other guitarists we had, because the other guitarists, like, I literally sent them tabs to learn the original songs, and they didn't learn them. And I was like, okay, if you're not gonna learn a song, you're not in, of course. So the thing is that
that told you everything you wanted to know about your guitar, your potential guitarist at that point. You're like, okay,
yeah,
if you're not going to learn the tabs, you're not going to learn the songs, what you going to do when it's time to gig? Or write, like,
yeah.
Yeah, you don't need that. Fuck that.
And the thing is that when Angel got there, then we jammed one original song that it was Insanity Normal State that is on our demo. And the thing is that we jammed and we had fun. Then we went to eat tacos and we went to a show afterwards. And it was like, it seemed pretty fun, and we got that chemistry. I remember we jammed other covers too that night. And we were jamming like some new jams that, we never jammed, like playing anything, having throwing ideas,
Mm-hmm.
I remember at that first practice, our photographer, Ben Saib, he was there and he took pictures of the first Labyrinth practice ever that it was. I think it was around December, I think it was January actually, the first week of January, or it was on December. I don't remember. The thing is that after that, when we got Angel, we had a full lineup, and we already had a show confirmed for January 23rd. That show, actually, it was January 21st. That show was our debut show, and on our debut show, it was really good. And actually, there's a funny story besides that. I remember that we had to pick up some stuff with Kyle Jackson, the guitarist of Excidium.
Mm-hmm.
We had to pick up some stuff from his house. We were going to his house, and then we ran out of gas. And his house was like 1 hour away from the venue, and then it was an hour away back, and it was like 7 already. We ran out of gas. We had to walk like 1 hour to get gas. We got gas. We make it work. And then we were gonna be the first band playing. And then it was like, I think it was 6 bands. And then the other bands that was the second and third, they just played first. And they gave us the third spot. So it was like, it was good for us, because the people were there, like the most of the people was there at that point. And it was a pretty good crowd for a first show, it was like 100 people or so.
Damn.
At a bar venue. So it was like, we were really happy about it. And then after that show, we just, like, I already had planned this. Like, we booked a show every single fucking week. Like, we started booking and we played, like, average, we play 1.2 shows every week. Like, with all the shows we got, we already reached, like, 20 shows in, like, 5 months of being a band. So it's like, we really worked hard and we tried to put good shows. We also had bad shows, of course, but we really tried to put good shows, like with bands that they can bring a crowd, and our crowd too. In that period of time, the first 2 months, we already had a crowd, and it's like we already start getting into people, and people really come for us.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, we have, like, I think at that point in February, our biggest show was Thrash at the 6. That Angel can told you about that.
That's the
That
one
show was really
we
killer.
played with.
Oh, that show was interesting. It was
that
about,
show was
we had a
something
turnout
else.
of around 300 people almost, with the band from Louisiana, Void, Matt's band.
Former.
It's a
Yes.
former band.
band.
Yeah, but it was huge. I don't think I've ever seen Trip 6, a local venue, filled out that, like, with that many people.
Was that the show that I had gone to? With
Yes.
Boyd?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
Nick,
the
that
show
was
where I met
the
you.
show
That's
that,
where we
that
met.
we
That's
were
how I
at.
actually
Fucking
met
Chris.
all the guys from Labyrinth. Actually, I had met Jorge at some show before then because we had texted on Instagram a couple times. But at Thrash at the 6, I went with Void. I was helping them bring some gear on stage.
Yeah.
We were hanging out at mine that weekend, I think. And then I got to meet Angel, Hayden, and Tommy, all them there at Thrash at the 6.
I remember you met me at the second Labyrinth show that was at Ojaman.
Yeah,
And
18 Coachman Road.
yeah, we met there, and it was really fun. And then Nick was there already on Third Six, and it was badass. That show was like packed as fuck.
Oh yeah.
We played second, and it's like everyone was like,
The
it
pit.
was like the pit. It
I was able to
never
experience
stopped.
it. It was fun. I was in that and I was going circles. I mean, the music, all the people there were just
It
going.
was loud and fast. We even put fucking double stacks, like full stacks for each instrument, for the guitars and for the bass. It was badass. And I remember we printed our first piece of merch at that point. It was like, I think, our fourth show.
Mm-hmm.
But we printed t-shirts, and we printed like 30 shirts. And we were like, okay, let's see if we sell this shit. And then before the first band started, we sold out the t-shirts, and we didn't have any more t-shirts.
Been there.
And I was like, damn. Now we did a lot of money from that, and we were like happy about it. And besides that, they pay us for the show because we brought a lot of people. And there we noticed that we had a crowd, that we had people supporting thrash metal.
Yeah, I want to go back to whenever you had the idea in your head, whenever you moved into the country. Whenever you were in the planning stages of Labyrinth, what were some of the bands that was inspiring you to play the type of music that you play right now?
Angel can go first.
Kind of, at least for me, like kind of what like got me into playing thrash. Because I always tell Jorge this. I always tell everyone this. I'm a blues guitarist before I am a thrash guitarist. I am. Yeah, there's a whole metal thing, and it ain't the guitar that I'm used to. But when it comes to like the actual thrash guitar, like influences for that, probably the biggest one would be like Municipal Waste shit. That I was also a really big fan of a lot of new wave. I actually started out with new wave before I really got into the classic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Crossover too.
All right.
Then when I actually formed the band, I already had like many bands that I used to listen. Like I started listening to thrash when I was like, I started with Metallica, of course, like when I was like 5 years old, 4 years old. But then when I found thrash, it was like I was 12, 13 when I started playing guitar, and it was like I moved here. I already had my band in my country in Bolivia, in South America. I used to play with two. I was part of two thrash metal bands. They had this. It was the same band, but we changed the name. And I had a lot of influence from South American bands at some point, from my friends, But they show me the old school stuff. Like they really introduced me to that. And after all that knowledge, I just came here with that knowledge. And here I found way more bands thanks to the internet.
Oh yeah.
And when I had the idea of Labyrinth, I always see it like I want to sound it like like the old school Bay Area sound. Like bands like Mordred, Defiance, Forbidden, Violence. Then other bands like of the East Coast, like get some riffs from Overkill, for example, or Toxic.
Yeah.
And then also like some influences of some German thrash or some South American thrash. That. In the 80s there was like a shit ton of thrash metal, and I have like a lot of bands that I like, and I get
you don't have to tell me that, man. I lived in the 80s, so
that's so badass, man.
Lucky, man, you got lucky.
Oh man, I mean, I grew up with the likes of everything you just mentioned, and then once I got older, like around 14, 15 years old, whenever someone said, well, we didn't have the internet back then, like AOL had just started when I was 15, and but yeah, like Creator, Sodom, I was all into that shit.
Yeah, Jorge, I wanted to ask, so like with that South American influence, like how much do you think how different is South American thrash to thrash like up here? Like I haven't listened to much bands from South America. How would you like describe that?
Dark. They are the best way I can describe it from the 80s and even like newer bands is I think the proto black sound for especially the 80s bands like Chacal and shit. That's you see a lot of that early like black metal, like crawling in without it being like actually black metal. Like you just see
like
the
that
influence.
rawness of the sound. You would say.
Ron is that doesn't sound right. Like how raw they are. Shut up.
But you
boy.
know, I think what really influenced me was the riffs. You know, like for example, in the bands I grew up like with in Bolivia specifically, there's a band called Azotador. That they're my favorite band. Like they really influenced me. They're like some of my best friends, and we're still in touch. I played some of my first ever shows with them. And the riffs is everything, you know, like I noticed that in some bands it's like everything, you know, vocals, riffs, drums and bass.
Yeah.
But in South America I think it's like people really focus so much on the riffs and so much that it can be aggressive, fast, but also it can be like it can move your head, it can move your body, you know. It's like I think that's a problem of the like there's a problem in the new wave bands that they just try to do everything fast. And
Yeah, I agree.
thrash is not just fast, you know. It's like you have like a headbanger part, you have like a dancing part, you
Yeah,
know.
like I think the perfect example of what you're saying is crap. What's that song by Death Angel? I can't remember the name right now.
Ultraviolence.
Yeah, it's
How
off
does
that.
The
album?
instrumental.
No,
That's a good song.
okay. Let me pull out my phone.
That's a
real quick.
good song actually.
But,
you
it's
know-
a song with
Know
the chorus. It's like "Man without anger, man without fear." That
Oh,
song.
Voracious
Yeah,
Souls.
I think "Voracious Souls" is the best example of like how dynamic thrash metal can be just in one song. Because
Yeah.
like the chorus, it goes from fast, and then there's that like little groovy kind of
With the
melody part.
clean part, like,
Yeah.
picked out.
And
Yeah, I
then
really dig that.
it goes back to just like head banging riffs, and then just that groovy
double
ass riff. And that was amazing to see live with you. You were crazy in the pit,
Yeah.
Jorge.
Dude, I enjoyed that show so much. Like, I think it was one of the best shows in my life because it was like seeing like two of my favorite bands that are Exodus and Testament together, and then one of the fucking gods of thrash metal that is our Dead Angel. You know, I fucking love the old school shit they did.
Yeah.
I like some of the new stuff, but I really prefer listening shit like Frolic Through the Park, you know, or Act 3. That thing really got me hooked into Dead Angel. It's not like many fans of Dead Angel that they really got to succeed after, I think, you know, like in the 80s, many people just see Dead Angel like a new band, you know, like the young band because they were fucking young as fuck. They were like
Yeah.
Oh, they were like
15,
14.
13.
They were about like me and Jackson's age, like whenever they
Yeah.
started. Like same
And the
age.
drummer was like 12 years old or 11 when he started.
Yeah,
That Angel, you know,
crazy shit
doing
like that.
demos and shit. And there's even a picture of the drummer. I think it's if I'm not wrong, it's Andy Gallion. That he was with Tom Hunting like in '85 when Bonded by Blood came out, and he's like he's a kid, man, like compared to what Tom Hunting was at that point, and then just see them live, you know, like all grew up, all doing the same thing, like after like 30 years or more, is like it's impressive. But the thing is, like going back to the South American influences, you know, like there are many bands, like even old school bands, like Sepultura from Brazil, for example.
Yep.
It's like they're fucking fast. It's like, you know, there's not a band that I can compare to Sepultura, and I think South Americans, we are so proud of Sepultura, of what they achieved. And I'm not talking about like the new Sepultura, you know, like the actual Sepultura. I'm talking about the
Yeah.
Cavaliers,
Yeah,
you know, the
yeah.
Cavaliers era.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah,
the only
like
one that
Roots
matters,
and
you know, like
before.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
and I just it was like in the last I guess 8 years that I discovered Sarcophago.
Oh, Sarcophago! I freaking love
Coda
Sarcophago.
showed me Sarcophago.
I
I've heard a
mean,
lot about it.
Those, I mean, you know, that's was the seeds of Sepultura right there.
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
I mean, those dudes, bro, it's just shut it down.
Yeah, like Coda showed me some of their songs. Sarcophago is very good. Like I've heard a lot about them, especially in videos about like black metal and stuff. But when I actually listened, I was like, this shit's good.
It's yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Like, I was expecting it to be
And,
very like raw, like black metal.
Yeah, and you know, it's really raw. Like, for example, when I was over there, of course, I was trying to find old school bands with my friends. And they knew some old school bands from Chile, you know, like from the 80s. Like in Bolivia, for example, the first thrash metal band. It was like a thrash group. The band that is called Hate.
I feel like I've heard of them.
They were like, actually they appeared in 1992, if I'm not wrong, and it was like the one of the biggest metal bands in Bolivia, and they're really recognized, and they're my friends too. Like they're fucking badass. We played some shows with them too, but it's like there was nothing on the 80s, you know, like on the 80s, for example, in Chile, like in Brazil, you had Sepultura, but in Chile, there was like some bands, like there's this band called Warpath,
Yeah.
that they have some
like I've heard
demos
of them.
out, and it's like, in their lyrics, they really express what they feel, you know, and I think that's the good thing of South American metal, that there's more for feeling, and it's like, it's not just sound good or be fast, or talk about what you want to do, or drink beer or mosh. No, it's not about that. It's about feeling, you know. And in those demos, they talked about the dictatorship that was going on in Chile. And actually, the singer of that band, my friends met him, and they asked him, you know, what's going on. And they released a demo that it was called Torture. And their cover is a dude with like a lot of fucking metal things that they're trying to torture him, you know. And then they asked where that idea came from, and it was like he was like, that idea came from me being tortured while it was a dictatorship, because
That
the
was some
fucking
real
cops,
life shit, bro.
Holy
Yeah.
shit.
Fucking
The-
crazy.
the cops fucking got me, and then that's how I felt. And it's like, if you think about it, that's the deal with South America, you know. Like if you go back now to the new bands of South America, you know, I fucking love Insecurity, for example. They're a new band that they just released their first album this year, and it's like, I think personally it's my favorite album this year, like thrash metal wise. Like I think it's my favorite album. You should listen to it. Then there are other bands like Disaster, and then
Cobra.
going back,
Cobra
Cobra
from Colombia.
Cobra from Colombia, then Perpetual Warfare from Colombia are badass.
Oh yeah, Perpetual Warfare, they're dope.
Then in Argentina we have Tungsteno,
Hermetica, Orca, who else?
Orcas, yeah.
Uh,
But there are like many bands, and also like if you go back to Mexico, it's like there are many bands like Strike Master or Acides, that Angel fucking loves Acides. And
yeah,
there are many, you know, but I think South American influence got me more because it's more feeling, you know. I think people feel it more, and if you see like videos of Metallica, Iron Maiden live in Chile, or even Anthrax, you know, Anthrax live in Chile, it was like hell. It was like one of the best things ever. They even got a DVD and everything that is called Chilean Hell, and it's like people just go and they fucking put fireworks, and they just keep moshing, and it's like, it's badass, you know. Like I remember before I came here, I was gonna go to Chile to see Anthrax, Megadeth. No, it was not Megadeth because Mustaine got cancer, but it was Anthrax, Slayer, The Last Tour, Creator, and Lamb of God.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is that on the Creator pit there was like 10 pits at the same time. And then on the
Jesus.
Anthrax and the War Dance, you know, on the that part is like, there were like 16 fucking circle pits in all over the fucking arena. It was like, it's crazy. It's crazy how people enjoy it. And that's,
I feel like if you watch any concert that is played in South America by pretty much any band that's done decent, I mean, just compared to the American crowds, I'm not saying like, oh, the Americans aren't shit, but the crowds in South America are insane compared.
Oh
to
yeah,
ours.
because they always
Yeah.
playing, you know, these huge football fields, you know, in soccer
Yeah.
arenas.
Yeah.
And there's, I mean,
Of
there's
course
just
y'all have had to hear about the thing with Sepultura about in the pit, the guy getting an axe to his chest in Rock
I
in Rio,
didn't
think?
hear
I don't
about
know.
that.
oh my god, I never heard
I
of
never
that
heard
either.
of that.
No,
What?
yeah, no. Apparently,
yeah.
during the Sepultura set, I forget which country it was getting played in. Again, I remember hearing this though from somewhere, that it got like crazy out of hand, and some dude like in the pit like had a little hatchet and like buried it in somebody's chest.
Jesus Christ. A chick gave birth to a kid at a Metallica concert
Oh, I
during
saw
that. Oh, yeah,
Enter
I saw
Sandman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
no, there's no fans as passionate as South Americans, bro.
yeah, I believe that. I mean, Iron Maiden
Soccer.
got Rock in Rio,
Yeah.
and the crowd for that was just
And I mean, like,
Insane.
Impressive,
look on
man.
any comment section of any like band today, and you will see someone from like in East South
Come
American
to
country.
Brazil.
Come to Brazil. You will
That
see
is
that everywhere. We got one of those in Void. We got to come to Brazil, and I was like, it finally
dude, that's
happened.
one of my goals. That's one of my end goals. I can die happy after I have someone unironically comment. Come to Brazil.
We had someone unironically comment that, and I was so proud. Like happy musician moment.
All right, I want to get back to the origin story of Labyrinth.
Oh yeah,
and
Okay, let's go back.
because what I want to do, I haven't heard too much from Nick right here. He's been playing with the locks he's got going on with the hair. He's just making sure he's looking good for the for the rest of the dudes that's on this podcast, which is kind of weird.
what you trying to say?
No,
So the thing is that Nick is the new member of Labyrinth. We
Okay.
just got
it's
him.
official?
It's brand new, that motherfucker.
all right.
Nice.
So the way we do things on the podcast, man, if you ever heard it, I'd like to hear the individuals of this band hear y'all metal journey, basically, like how y'all got into metal. And we can start with the newest member, with Nick.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So I've
No
only
problem.
been into metal for about like 3 years now because
Really?
I'm 17 years old. I started playing guitar when I was like 14 years old, like around that time. And the first song I ever really heard, or the first metal song I really ever heard that really made me think, wow, this is what I want to do, was Leper Messiah off of Master of Puppets. The Master of Puppets
Great
album is what
track.
got me into everything. Love that album.
Yeah, that's
I
a great
remember-
track.
I remember whenever I was saving up for a guitar, because my mom, she said, no, you can't get the guitar with my money, but if you pay for it, you can get that guitar. So I spent the whole summer listening to Master of Puppets, mowing yards, getting enough money to buy this guitar so I could start playing. A couple of years go down. I've been playing for about a year at this point, and I've been watching a bunch of Metallica live videos because at this point I was really into Metallica. And Cliff just blew my fucking mind, right? Like
Ditto.
everything about him, his stage presence, his just tone, the way he played, how aggressive he hit the strings. I mean, if you listen to the raw bass tracks, the way he just digs.
Yeah.
Even though
Yeah.
I'm a pick player, I do play with fingers sometimes, but man, his tone is just
I bet you
unmatched.
do.
Like, nobody can play like Cliff at all, ever. But I started playing bass about a year after I started playing guitar. And so I had been wanting to start a band with a couple of my friends, and I'm in another band called Nemesis. Jorge,
Great band. Y'all should go
Angus,
check them out.
we had actually recently played our first show, but I had kind of got to know Jorge on complete accident. So the way that I met Jorge was through Jackson, and
I was there that day. I remember this.
yes, and Matt's gonna remember this story. So it's really funny. The reason why I'm probably even here to this day is to one kid in my high school bathroom who lied to me. That is probably the reason why I'm here. So
No way.
yeah, I go into the bathroom, doing my business, and some guy had walked in, and he had recognized me because I'd posted a video on Instagram the night before, playing the Wake Up Dead solo, I think it was. Yeah, it was that solo. And he was like, hey, man, I saw you play guitar. I have a couple of friends. I used to be their drummer. I was from Void, da-da-da-da. And I was like, oh, cool. Yeah, you remember the story, don't you?
Yeah,
And he was
the
like-
phony Void member.
Yeah, so he was like, yeah, I used to be Void's drummer and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, dude, awesome. I saw their thing on TikTok actually recently. Can you send me some of their contact information? He was like, yeah, for sure. So he just gave me, I think, Alex's Instagram, and I got in contact with him. And Alex was like, I don't know if Alex knew the guy or
Alex?
not, because he was like, oh, maybe. And then he sent me Jackson's Instagram, and I'd started talking to Jackson. And Jackson was like, nah, no clue who that was. And he definitely
Yeah,
had
we've
more
only
than one
had
other
3
ex-drummer.
drummers. We've had Logan, Jackson's brother. We had Evan, and he definitely he's graduated and all that. So is Logan. Aaron, same as him. He stayed in Lafayette all his life. I mean,
Yeah, so we absolutely
who?
have no clue who this mystery man is. He said he was a Void drummer, but apparently not.
It was a fucking devil that
It was
opened the
God.
gate for you, man.
it was an angel of destiny. That's what that was.
Hey, you know what? That's a good way of looking at it, because I started, talking to Jackson pretty often, and then Jackson, he's from Louisiana. I had ended up convincing him somehow, come over, let's jam sometime. Even
Yeah,
though we
his
didn't have any
dad lives in
material out or
Houston, so that
anything.
all works out.
Yeah, so I told him, you should come on down sometime and we should, jam around. And so we ended up doing that, and I had met Matt because Matt had come down with them. And so the show Thrash at the 6 is the show that kind of really, I would say, got me to know everybody kind of around who's like playing live and all that good stuff. But I had ended up meeting Jorge at the second lab show. You said fourth?
Yeah, the second one.
Because I had been with Jackson, and Jorge had called, and he had said, "What's up?" I had said, "What's up?" to him. Nice to meet you. All this stuff. I was like, "Hey, I'm from this new band called Nemesis. We're starting."
But I
to do
remember
music."
before that, I already texted you before that call.
Oh yeah, I believe you did actually. Because did Jackson mention something to you about me?
Actually, I think how I met this motherfucker, it was like I just found that he played guitar, and one of my friends, I follow him. I don't know how. And then I was like, "Do you know this guy?" Because I just see the Wake Up Dead solo playing, and I was like, "He looks like a Thrasher." And then she tells me, "I don't know that guy." And I'm like, "Why the fuck you like those videos if you don't know the guy?" And she was like, "I don't know." And then I was like, "Okay." And then I follow him, and then we start texting. And I remember the first thing I told you, I was like, "Hey, what's up, brother? Do you like thrash metal?"
Well, I mean, Jorge, think about it though, because I was back to the whole Jackson thing. Because we kind of texted for a little bit, and then we didn't speak until we saw each other at the show. And
Cool. Yeah.
I wouldn't have gone to that show if Void was not playing because I was helping.
Yeah,
bring
of course.
beer on stage for them. And I met you, and I mean, I swear to God, I think we both agree on this. Whenever we first met each other, it kind of felt like we had known each other for a couple years. Like it was like, oh, hey, what's up, man? How are you doing? That kind of thing. We were already on like a first name basis within like 2 seconds of seeing each other. It was really good.
Yeah, it was nice.
Okay, and then from meeting him to basically getting into the band.
Oh, that's
like
that's the cool part.
That's a little chunk. So that's
a cool
story
part.
with this one. So I had gone to a couple Labyrinth shows at this point. Really dug the originals. All the originals they played. I really loved just the instruments on them. I love the kind of odd just punches and all the accents and the nuances in the music. It really kind of interested me as a musician compared to all the other bands, just in general that were new at the time or still new at the time. It just seems like it had a lot extra kind of sauce, mystery sauce, on it, just that made it kind of like poke out compared
Spicy.
Yeah, spicy.
Like a spicy meatball.
Oh yeah. So, anyway,
Just because we're hot.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up, Ori.
What do you
I
mean by
got to a
that?
couple Labyrinth shows and spoke to Jorge a couple times, and then he had asked, I think one day out of the blue, this was before I had even got the offer to fill in for them, because that's actually how I ended up starting playing with them. I had gotten an offer to just come jam with them, Exidium, and who was it? Just Labyrinth and Exidium that day?
Yeah, it was just
Space?
Yeah, I don't remember, to be honest.
I think it was just Labyrinth and Exidium.
it was just Labyrinth and Exidium that were playing that day.
And they had asked, or Jorge had asked, "Hey, you want to come jam with us?" And I think he kind of used me to get a ride there, to be honest, because he was like, I think he was kind of using me, but you know what? It all worked out in the end. So I jammed with them. I was playing guitar at that time, whenever I was jamming with them. And so I think literally a week after that, I'm, at school at lunch, and I get a text from Jorge saying, "Hey, I need you to fill in for something." And I was like,
No,
hey,
actually, I asked you first because I knew you were traveling to New Orleans anyways.
yeah, I was going to Louisiana.
And you were going to the tour anyways.
Yeah, I was gonna watch one of the shows out of them, but the thing was, I had Thursday and Friday. I had school. Those were my last 2 days of school I had, and I had ended up skipping both those days to go on this tour to fill in. So he had texted me, and he was like, "Hey, man, a bit of a predicament. We need somebody else to come on tour with us." And originally,
You want to fill in?
I was filling in on drums. So he had asked if I wanted to fill in on drums, and I was like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" Because I play bass, guitar, and drums, and I try to sing. That's my thing.
Fucking overachiever.
Dave Mustaine
but
impression.
you know what? I enjoy it. I don't say it's overachieving if you like it. So.
But then he
You're
sucked on
versatile.
drums, and I had to jump on drums.
I just was so bad on drums. No, he had already actually known all the drum parts, so he was like,
Yeah.
"Well, why don't you just hop on guitar? Because that's what you normally play." And I was like, "Yeah, sure." So I started learning the guitar parts, and then I think at some point we had gotten the text, "Oh crap, the bass player Tommy had also, had some things going on." So hell, Labyrinth right now is just Jorge and Angel. what the fuck are we gonna do about this situation that we're in right now? So Angel had gone, how about we just do 2 guitars, and Nick guitar, Angel on guitar, and Jorge on drums, and singing. And we were like, well, I had mentioned to Jorge, I was like, well, we're gonna get crapped on by all the other bands without having.
Yeah, because without
You
bass,
need
it's
bass line.
nothing.
You
Yeah,
really
you
do
need that
bass line.
thickness in the
Something.
mix.
Need a low end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to
I
bridge
feel
that
like
gap between
something-
drums and guitar, because then it just sounds too thin.
I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like a good way to put it is like the way that you can look at bass is like mayo on a sandwich. If it's not there, you notice it, but if it is, you don't really kind of notice it.
Yeah.
I hate mayo. That's a
I-
terrible
I
comparison.
think that's a stupid.
I
way.
agree with Nick, because sometimes you put a thin enough layer to where you don't really taste it, but it gives that texture.
Just
Negative.
right.
Negative. You put mayo on a fucking sandwich, I'll taste it, and I'm gonna fucking puke. In the story.
I think mayo on sandwiches is perfectly fine.
Not a mayo fan?
Not a mayo fan.
Wow. Okay.
No.
You
Is-
hate-
But I like
It's
bass
because-
though. I like bass.
Jorge, don't say something stupid. I can already.
So,
sense
Injustice for All would be your favorite album because it has no mayo.
What?
False.
Anyway,
It's Saint
so
Anger.
he
Oh,
had,
heck yes.
he had asked me to fill in, and I was like, yeah, I'm down. All that stuff happened with their drummer.
Yeah, and this motherfucker learned the songs in like 6 hours.
I
I
learned-
stayed the night at his house out of nowhere.
It was I actually had
And
a set list that we usually kind of use. So the set list that we had, it was 1 original and 3 or 4 covers. It was 4 covers.
I think it was 2 originals
Yeah, maybe. Who knows?
because
Was it?
actually with the intro it was 3 originals, I guess.
I guess. Yeah.
But it's like we had to fill in with so much covers because we had like 3 hours to get ready for 3 shows, and you know we didn't want to cancel anything, and that's something that I hate to do. I hate to cancel things, especially if a promoter or a band is waiting for you. Like if someone cancels me, of course I'm gonna try to be like, okay, then for future things I'm not gonna consider that band. Because it's like they already let me down, and especially if they're letting me down like a day before, where I cannot find another band to play, that's fucked up, you know, and that's not professional
Yeah, it's
at
bad
all.
business.
Yeah.
I think Nick was
And
trying to
that's
get I think Nick was trying to get a word in real quick.
Just a little word. Originally, I was just filling in for those 3 dates in Louisiana, and like he had said, I'd learned the set list in a night. I picked him up at like 6 o'clock. He lives about like 40-ish minutes away from me, and during rush hour, it was about an hour. We get back to mine. We get in the room. He shows me the songs. I'm like, crap, man. It is 7 o'clock. We wake up tomorrow at 8 a.m. to leave to Louisiana. We're getting to the hotel. We're getting to Void's house. We're putting our stuff down, and we're heading to the venue. I need to learn 6 songs right now. So I strapped myself down. It was Into the Pit, Serial Killer. Actually, no, Serial Killer I learned. That's actually even crazy.
That's the one that you
Yeah,
learned at
I learned
Aaron's
Serial
house.
Killer the morning of a show because I didn't get it the night before. So our first set was Bonded by Blood, Mechanics, Into the Pit, Insanity, Day Dallas, and I think one more song if I'm not wrong.
It was endless.
And then
Oh, it was.
with one with the next we ended up adding one more, which was Serial Killer by Violence. I'd learned that in the hotel room in the
And he
morning.
never heard that fucking song. That
I,
matter.
Oh, I
yeah,
thought- I
no,
thought
the
Serial
thing is,
Killer
I
wasn't
had never
original.
known how to play any of the songs except for Bonded by Blood. That was the only song I knew because I'm a big Exodus fan. You know, I knew the songs Into the Pit, like I knew the structuring kind of because I've heard them a million times.
Yeah.
Didn't know the bass parts. So I started actually learning the guitar because we were gonna do that before the bass player Tommy dropped out, and then I had to translate it all over to guitar in a couple hours, and so we did that. It all ended up working out pretty well. I mean, everybody at Atmosphere said it was a really good set. I mean, for what we were working with, and
It was.
I
I
really
mean,
enjoyed
unfortunately,
myself.
there were those sound issues, especially with Angel's guitar. I don't know what was going
Oh
on.
yeah,
there.
my amp shit itself halfway through this
Yeah,
set.
and same thing with
Oh,
mine.
that sucked,
Yeah,
actually.
but me and Jorge kept it going. You know what? Hey,
Yeah.
for it being the first time of all of us playing together, for technical issue like that to happen, his guitar completely cut out. It was right before the solo and Mechanics. I remember that. So me and Jorge, I think we subconsciously just kind of connected, and this has to go back with the thing of being on like a first name basis when we first met each other. I think we're kind of on the same page musically, just kind of live too. We work really well together. So I just held back, the rhythm on it and just waited for him. It was on the solo part, like I said. So it was just a
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
And
we
the
just
thing
held
it
that
was
part
that
for a second.
it was easy too, but the thing it was that what it was hard, it was that in 6 hours we had to figure out some way to do the shows, and I think that's something that it really got us somewhere because it's like those shows were some of our favorite shows. Like for example, we play in Baton Rouge and in New Orleans, and we met a lot of cool people over there. A lot of cool bands. Like the venues were cool. We went and walked around the place, and it was like if we cancel everything, we're not gonna have that experience, and our name is gonna be rock. You know.
We
So
were
it's
in
like
Nevada.
yeah.
We ended up
Yeah.
actually staying with the guys of Heraculon. I know you've done a podcast with them before.
Yeah, those are my
had-
dudes,
Yeah,
man.
Before this, they're some really cool dudes. I really like their music.
and their music,
Yeah.
I think, actually, I think they're like one of my favorite bands. Like I heard and I played with, like they're really dope and they're tight as fuck too. Like the drummer, the bassist, and if they hear me, hi motherfuckers.
I got a
We'll
funny
see.
story about
We'll see.
Heraculon. It was the Testament, Exodus, and Death Angel show that we went to, Jorge. And,
Yeah, we saw them there too.
We saw them there, and it was their drummer and Jackson talking, and Jackson was like, "Oh, Obsidian King is like my top song played," and he pulls up his Spotify stats, and number one right there, Obsidian King. So he showed him.
Yeah,
and
we thought he was fucking
yeah,
with
yeah,
us,
we thought,
like
we thought he was
lying,
bullshitting,
and
but no, he was right.
He was
number
not.
one right there, and I mean, I guess with me not being in Void, the only thing that like I'm sad about is that there's some bands I don't get to share stage with, but I think in the future maybe that can happen, but not near.
You need to do your band, man.
Hey, I have some stuff brewing.
Okay, that's good.
Small
I'm
stuff-
glad to
small
hear
stuff.
that.
Fucking exclusive right here.
And back to that one thing we were talking about earlier, kind of all of our metal journey. I never really explained any of my other influences outside of metal because, believe it or not, I don't listen to metal all the time. So
Whoa.
I am a very big jazz fusion fan.
I do.
I really love like Chris Poland, like the New Yorkers, that kind of stuff. Chris Poland is one of my favorite. I know y'all are probably laughing at this right now, but
No,
jazz
it
fusion
was
is one of my
I got sound
Sound
effects.
effects.
Jazz and jazz fusion are badass.
You literally walked in the hotel to my fat ass fucking sleeping at jazz. I don't know what you're talking about.
I know, but you
about
but
those
you
guitar
sleep
players.
because you're bored, motherfucker. He fucking enjoys it.
If you listen back to like Megadeth, early Megadeth, which is one of my biggest influences, Megadeth's probably my all-time favorite band. Along with Exodus, I'd say they pretty that Exodus and Metallica
Like tip to tip?
fights for tip to tip. They fight for sure. But those bands, I mean, especially just you listen to the guitar work on Peace Cells, just it has such a different sound to it compared to anybody else's playing style. Just with those like half bends or those like just bends that go way over a full step.
Mhm.
Those things. I mean, I had watched a bunch of interviews and stuff like that, and he had been trying to emulate, like the style of a piano wheel or a keyboard wheel to do like the fun legato.
It also could have been because he was cracked out on heroin at the time because
True
That
story.
too, but
True
you know,
story.
Aaron
that
told
might
me
have
a
All of them were
story.
cracked out. Of course, all of them were.
Yeah, Aaron told me a
on
story. It was
fucking hard drugs and shit.
There's this band from Japan that I listen to. They're called Cassiopeia, however you pronounce it right. They're this 80s jazz fusion band. They do a lot of instrumental stuff. And Jorge knows what song I'm talking about. Matt knows what song I'm talking about. I have a little routine.
Like a
before
ritual.
every show I listen to this one song by Cassiopeia. Don't want to miss
It's so annoying. Don't write
not,
it,
it's
fucking
good,
Nick.
dude.
It's so annoying that he plays the same song all the time.
No, it is one song, and I have to play it once before I get to the venue. It's called Midnight Rendezvous by Cassiopeia. It's really good. It's probably my favorite jazz fusion song. But yeah, I'd say I'm a solid 50-50 with my musical influences, being half of it being metal and half of it being just very cool instrumentalist kind of guitar stuff.
Cool.
Sweet.
All right.
What about you, Angel?
Oh, I was expecting Jorge next.
Well,
Okay.
I mean,
shit.
do you want to go first, or Jorge? Do you want to go first?
No, Angel goes first because he didn't talk in like the past 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Man, I've been sewing. I don't know what you're on. Anyway, basically,
You need some more light over there, Angel.
Get like a circle light or something. Flashlight, tape it to your monitor.
I don't have anything. Hold on.
Just move the camera to show your face.
There he is. There we go.
There you go.
The whole time.
Whoa! It's me.
Holy crap! It's our chair.
Anyway, I like to say I think my musical taste and like musical journeys all over the place because I grew up in a household that was my dad was a rocker. Like he loved rock. He loved jazz. He loved blues. He loved basically anything, but mainly like classic rock. You know, your boomer type of stuff, and that's what I grew up around a lot with. So I started playing guitar when I was really young, probably around 6, 7. That's when I picked it up at first, and like it was all fun. I never really took it seriously until like 4 years ago. That's when I really started like actually taking it and like practicing, doing what I had like. Getting better at it, but I started really young, and it was mostly because of my dad. So I got into the classics really early, Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, all that stuff. And around 2014, 2015 is when my dad started introducing us to his heavier tastes, which was like Iron Maiden, early Metallica, the more popular stuff, like really surface level kind of stuff.
Are you sewing right now?
Huh?
Are you sewing right now?
Yeah.
What are you sewing, a patch?
Yeah, he's sewing his jacket.
I'm doing a little bit of maintenance work because the tour was kind of rough with some of my patches, and I'm finishing sewing up some extra patches.
What patch you're sewing currently?
Well, I just finished sewing my Centrix patch.
Oh,
finishing
You
the
just
back.
got that
Angel
one on
has
tour,
the best
actually.
battle jacket I've ever seen.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's the best one actually of the Houston metal scene. I think that his jacket is the best one.
I would love to
Because
see it, but you can't.
Just look at their Instagram.
Even
I
though
mean,
it's not
you
gonna
can't.
be
That's true.
in the
That's
interview
true.
on Spotify, but show it to the interviewer.
Hold on.
Yeah, I remember like the first time I met you, Angel. It was at the Exidium show. Formag played there, and
Oh yeah, I remember that.
you were like, "Show me all your patches." Oh yeah,
Yeah,
no, right there.
It's almost done.
Oh, nice.
Got the forbidden one on the front.
Forbidden.
Some Power Trip,
Development.
Suicidal
Favorite
Tendencies,
My Warble.
DRI.
DRI,
Is that Deicide?
Deicide, yeah.
DRI.
Creator.
Violence.
Violence.
I love it.
Cider. Then
There's me.
You're just missing one, man. You're
Overkill.
missing Dark Angel.
X-Order.
Is that a sadistic intent?
Sadistic Intent. Yes, sir.
The one on top. Yeah.
I love
Yep.
that.
No, Sadistic Intent. No, that is a Spectre of War. They're a local
Okay.
band.
All right. Yeah, sadistic intent's logo looks very similar to that too, and X-Hoarder, of course.
I've always loved that X-Order patch.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so I love it. That's why
Kyle
I'm doing
Thomas,
maintenance
friend of the
work on right
program.
now.
He
Then the
interviewed
other
Kyle
side-
actually.
I got the
Forced.
Later.
Toxicol.
Gamma Pump. Violator is
I
one of the
love
best
Violator.
bands ever.
Yes.
Yeah.
The last Rocket one, man.
Ooh,
The Last
Razor. I like that
Rocket is the
Razor patch
best
too,
one.
man.
Love Last Rocket.
Anthrax,
Then-
Testament.
There.
MOD, Mordred, Atrophy. The Flotsam and Jets
Flotsam
one
and
is
Jets.
that.
Hey,
That's
Whiplash
sick.
too.
Sodom.
And Sodom.
I see that.
Oh,
Death
you got
Angel
the Dead
one.
Angel, actually. I didn't know you got the Dead Angel.
And then I got like the local bands like Beretta. That one's a homemade one. Then some shitty local band that I need to get rid of. That one right there. Then the Mexican one, that Acidas. I love these guys. One of my favorite like punk thrash to ever come out. And then I got Septic and Vitamin X, which is a crossover band from, I think they're Polish, I believe. I may be wrong. But yeah, that's what I'm working on right now. Just maintenance work.
I like it.
That's cool.
I like it a lot. I'm sorry, I interrupt you about the whole patch thing. Where we leave off? I know
it was-
Dad got him into harder stuff.
Yeah. You were talking about Iron Maiden and stuff.
Oh, yeah. 2015. That was the first time I ever saw. Like, I went to my first heavy concert, which was Iron Maiden.
And how old are you right there in 2015?
2015. Shit, I don't know. I can't do math. Probably like.
Damn, you were like fucking 16. Come on, man.
Yes, around like 16.
Oh my god, I was 9.
You were 9?
I was 9 years old. Yeah.
Jesus God.
Jesus,
and
what?
I'm born in the latter half of the year, so like 8 years old for most of that year, then 9.
I keep thinking you're 15.
Yeah, I am 15.
I know. I'm like, wait a minute,
Hey, Matt,
You're making me feel old, bro.
dude. I'm older than all of y'all. I'm combined, sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on.
But yeah, no,
Let's
I
get back
was
down to brass tacks here.
I was in what's it called? Yeah, I went to the first Iron Maiden concert, and it was a Ghost opening. And I think before like the Ghost hate train started, like earlier, you know, everyone fucking hates Ghost. I think I was one of the first ones because I saw them 2015 open for Maiden, and I fucking hated it. It was so bad.
I hated it when they first came out. I hate it now.
Yeah,
Their songs are catchy, but that
cool
doesn't mean
songs,
they're good.
Like they have cool songs, but it's like
The image
not
was-
old school, you know.
Yeah.
That's the
but-
only thing.
and-
But they have cool songs.
Yeah, motherfucker. But yeah, no, I went to that concert. I was mind blown. I was like, holy shit, this is like the best band to ever fucking exist. And
Which one?
Iron Maiden. And
Okay.
from there on, I kind of went like on a journey on like watching like more videos on like metal stuff, and it was just kind of a rabbit hole. Then I got into new wave thrash and like classic stuff, but mainly new wave. I think that's where a lot of my early like guitar work kind of started. Like, I think one of the first solos that I learned on guitar once I like those 4 years of like playing, the first solo I learned was Hardwired. By Metallica, you know, from their latest album at the time.
Yeah.
That's your favorite one?
And that just kind of kept regressing back in time.
That was the first song I learned.
Oh, Hardwire Soda Struck?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. But it was just kind of going back and back, like finding older bands that I liked more than the newer ones and etc. And then, yeah, just kind of, but mainly I was a blues guitarist on it over everything because blues has probably been my favorite genre, period. Same thing with jazz, but mainly blues. Like Delta, Mississippi Delta blues, stuff like Muddy Waters, Lead Belly, Robert Johnson, all that shit. That's kind of where I really found my footing and my style.
I'd have to agree with Angel on it being a slippery slope, being a rabbit hole with these bands. I mean, I'd have to agree. I mean, to this day, I'm still learning about these awesome new bands that I've never heard of before. Like, I started with Metallica, and then, you know, you get into Megadeth, and then Exodus, and then Slayer. You know, you just keep going down and down and down. I mean, another band, I don't know how I hadn't listened to anything from them that Jorge actually showed me recently that is probably one of my favorite bands now is Artillery.
Artillery's fucking dope.
Dude, Artillery is fucking badass.
I'm gonna have to give him a listen.
Maniac, that's probably one of my favorite songs to listen to right now. Just the guitar work is phenomenal on it. Phenomenal, my bad. Phenomenal.
The
on it.
vocals, dude. The vocals is amazing.
Just blows your
But you
mind.
know, like,
Just keep going down these and finding these bands, like going down the rabbit hole and finding these bands.
it's
and
infinite. Like,
blows your
it's
mind,
fucking
yeah.
infinite, you know? Like, I feel that I try to find every fucking band I can. Like, every old school band I can. Like, there are many new bands, you know? Like, yeah, the new bands can go and do whatever they want. But it's like, what I like is the old school stuff. And it's like, I try to find bands. Like, the other day, I was trying to find bands from Japan, you know? And there's this band called Lost. And I was like, damn, that's fucking killer, you know? But besides that, finding, like, underground bands, you find really killer bands.
Now,
But
Jorge,
at some point, it's like, what?
I want to ask you real quick before you got too far ahead of me. Are most of the bands that you single out, like looking for, is it just mainly in the thrash metal vein, or you try to find something else that's, you know, outside of that realm?
So at the beginning, like how I started listening to thrash, it was, of course, it was Metallica. You know, Metallica started everything for me. I remember when I was like 4 or 5 years old. I remember being a fucking kid possessed by Metallica and just screaming, "Master, Master!" And it's like everyone fucking loved it, you know, like, and I loved it and I felt it. And then I remember Guitar Hero 3, Legends of Rock, Guitar Hero, Metallica. That totally opened my mind to rock and metal. Especially Guitar Hero, Metallica helped me a lot because I remember I used to play an Expert. I used to play fucking Master of Puppets or any other song of Metallica and then put the microphone of Nintendo Wii, you know, and sing and play. That's how I learned how to sing and play.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like after I passed the expert level, I was like, okay, I'm gonna learn the song now in the real guitar, and I'm just gonna put the Guitar Hero, just the microphone. And I used to do that, and that's how I learned a lot of Metallica. That's why I know a lot of Metallica. But then after Metallica, like when I was 12 years old, the first Megadeth song I heard it was Anarchy in the UK. That was that cover, and I already knew Anarchy in the UK because Guitar Hero 3, of course. And then I heard Symphony of Destruction, and then Megadeth got into my fucking self, you know. Then I got Slayer, Anthrax. That Anthrax totally changed my fucking life. I think it's like one of my favorite bands of all time. But besides that, you know, like you were asking, you know, besides thrash metal, that was like the beginning for me, like until I was like 14, when I really found what was thrash metal, like where I really found um, the thrash metal bands influenced by thrash metal, you know, because the first bands were influenced by heavy metal, speed metal, of course, rock, you know, like the first wave rock bands, like blues and all that stuff. But then you find the bands that were influenced, that they're thrash metal, but they were influenced by thrash metal, and those are like some of my favorites. But like not thrash metal, not specifically thrash metal. I really started enjoying blues and jazz. Why? Because my favorite guitarist of all time is Alex Skolnick from Testament. Like he blows my mind every time, every solo. When I saw him live, it was like it was a dream come true to me. Like just seeing him playing one solo, it was like, damn, this motherfucker can play.
That was me.
And
With
he has
Steve
his fucking
DiGiorgio at that
he has
concert.
his fucking band, you know. He has his jazz band that is called Alexis Kolnick Trio, and I heard it when I was like 18 or 17, and that was my first step to jazz. You know, like I started listening to that, and then I started listening to the fucking first early fucking jazz. You know, like oh fuck, Dave Brubeck or Miles Davis. You know, like the first thing. And then I went like a little bit to blues. I started learning jazz and guitar at the beginning, like when I just got here to the US in 2020, and it's hard. It's really challenging. Like all the modes, all the chords, all the progressions, all the scales. You know, and it really makes sense whenever you learn them. It really makes sense while you're playing, and you know, it's like I'm really impressed how Dave Mustaine, in other words, like Scotty Ian says, that he put jazz into thrash metal. But it's like besides that, I fucking love speed metal. I think like speed metal is one of my favorite genres too. Like um, bands like Pile Driver, you know, like Cider,
Except
Motorhead, you know, like Accept. Accept. I think they're like more. Yeah, they're a speed power metal, and I fucking love power metal too. You know, power metal, death metal. Um, Power metal has killer bands like Sabotage, Halloween, even Dragon Force that they're fucking maniacs. You know, like if you hear those solos, you think this is impossible, but they do it. You know, they do it. They can do it, and if someone can do it, you can do it. So it's like I have like a lot of metal influences, and I have like some, of course, basic rock influences. You know, like bands like Rolling Stones, The Doors. Then you go. I fucking love also like some songs of Kiss, for example. That many people don't care about Kiss or hate on Kiss. I like some songs. I cannot say that I love them or I hate them because I didn't hear their entire discography. You know. Then bands like Red Hot Chili Peppers that really influenced me. Nirvana, Rage Against the Machine. You know, like all those bands like influenced me as a musician, and it's like I try to get those influences
Hey, there's nothing
into
wrong
my
with
own
that,
thing. That
man.
my
Yeah,
own
man,
thing
I
is
feel you. I
doing
mean,
thrash metal. You know.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, variety is the spice of life, as they say, and
Yeah.
everything you take all of those influences and make it something you're all your own.
yeah, you like what Phil and Samo said. You get 20 of your favorite bands and you mix them all and make your own sound. I mean, I believe he said that in a Loudwire interview.
Probably so.
I'm pretty sure he did, but
yes, he did.
yeah, I mean, it's good to have that broad sense of music because, like, I've been there. I went from Sabbath to Metallica to Pantera to Death, Typo Negative, and now Opeth. Like, whole roller coaster of just different genres and styles, which influence your playing and the music that you create. And like,
I'm gonna get you to like black metal before long.
yeah, well, hey, I like Emperor now.
Black
I like
metal is
Emperor now.
badass.
Hey, you want to hear
Black
any-
metal, Bruce
Oh,
Wave.
sucks.
Bro, Pagan Fears. Go listen to that song. The main riff on that song goes like I love the main riff.
What song was that?
Go listen to it. It's good.
All right, I guess I'll have to. Send me the song on Instagram.
I have homework now.
I'll send it to you.
I have homework. But
Yeah.
if you think about it, I think like I do thrash metal because it's the only genre that really got me into I want more, I want more, I want more, I want more. And it's like what I love about this is like when you get into it, it's hard to go out because it's even you step one step in and then you get out, like some people just go like, oh, thrash metal was a phase for me because I wanted to find heavy shit. Fuck your bullshit, like thrash metal it can be heavy, you can write a ballad on thrash metal. It can be headbanger, it can be fast, it can be slow, It can be everything you want.
Yeah.
But you have
I wanna-
to put your own meaning,
I
And
really
I think
feel like.
in thrash's oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, I was gonna
Go for
say. I feel like thrash metal is the most adaptable kind of metal. I feel like you can, like it. It's you can really put a lot with thrash metal and make it work.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like
It's one of the
even
best
more
metal
adaptable than
enhancers. You
like
can throw into
prog.
anything and it'll work.
Yeah, I mean, thrash is just so
like-
versatile as a genre as a whole.
I mean, you can go listen to like stuff off of Metallica's Ride the Lightning, and it's super mellow, but it's thrash.
Yeah,
Mhm.
And then you go
Yeah.
listen to, say, Artillery's stuff, technical as hell, and then you go listen to some Megadeth stuff, and you're like, whoa, some of the chords in there are just really like cool. And then you listen to some Exodus, and it just hits you in the face, and some Slayer just
Yeah.
makes you want to go war.
Listen
Or
to
some
some
fucking
Possessed
like
and
DRI
Death.
or Nuclear Assault, that they're more crossover, like more of the punk side. But if you think about it, like thrash metal, it's always and it will be always the combination of punk and heavy metal, Or even I consider myself that it's punk and speed metal,
Yeah,
punk, speed, and heavy metal together. And it's
Yeah.
like, of course, you get those influences, but if you think about it, punk is really short, and this is something that Tom Araya said when they released Red Blood. He was like, all our songs are really short. This record is less than 30 minutes, but it's like the shorts are the songs are short because it's punk. It's a still punk.
yeah,
Thrash metal is punk. And it's like, then you go, for example, to bands like Violence or bands like Testament or Anthrax, that they have like 6 minute songs, that like 6 minute long songs that they're great, like they have meaning and they are still thrash metal. So it's like, you can do a lot. And like you were saying, it's like, for me, it's like an endless pathway that you enter and you
Yeah.
cannot go out when you enter too further, It's like, for me right now, it's like, I try to find bands every day, like old school bands, and it's like, it's endless, man. Like, it never ends. It's like,
Unbelievable
every
how many
time.
list he has on his phone. He has a solid. He
Dude,
has just so
Jackson
many bands
told
on
me
his
about it.
phone that
Like, Jorge, is it
blow
true that on
my
your
mind.
Spotify you have just like hundreds of songs for each year of like thrash metal?
You actually have some playlists that are like, I have three actually. I have 1988, 1989, and 1990 that I have like all the albums that are on Spotify that I consider thrash metal, that I found, that I know that they exist. Of course, there are many others that I don't know they exist, but it's like it's so fucking endless that I try to fucking listen to them. Like, I listen to entire albums. I don't listen to just one song of a band. I try to listen to the entire thing so I understand what they wanted to say.
Well,
And it's like, besides that,
speaking of albums, now that we got that part of the show that I love to get, since there's three of you,
Oh, this fun part.
this is the fun part. Matt already knows what's coming up.
Yeah.
I want each of you to tell me your Sacred Six albums. Like,
Sacred
the
Six.
Sacred Six, baby. Like, if you gotta go, the house is on fire, and you only grabbing 6 albums, 6 CDs, whatever it is, whatever format,
Yeah.
your favorite 6. Which ones you grabbing?
yeah,
Angel
you
should
go first, Nick.
Angel,
No,
you go
Angel,
first.
Go first.
Okay.
Get the man while he's throwing.
I think 6 that I'd save, probably Another Lesson in Violence, the live album that Exodus did. Dark Side. Actually, I'll knock 2 out with 1. I'll get a Pulse by Pink Floyd, which is the live concert, one of the live concerts they did, because that has both Dark Side and Wish You Were Here.
That's a wise choice.
Yeah, it's 2 in 1, so I'll take it. Forbidden, Twisted into Form. Led Zeppelin 3. Texas Flood, Stevie Ray Vaughan.
And one more.
Killers, Iron Maiden.
Fuck
Was that 6?
All valid choices.
That's 6 right there, baby.
Yeah,
You did
it
good.
Was 6. It was 6.
Yeah, you told my band 5. And I actually went
Killers
over
is
to 6.
interchangeable with Somewhere in Time. They're interchangeable.
Both very solid albums. I would personally choose Somewhere in Time, but yeah, that's a hard pick between those two.
Actually, Angel got a fucking first press of Killers in a store in Fort Worth, Texas.
A first print?
Yeah.
Damn.
You should go and check it out. That record store, if you're in Fort Worth, Texas, I don't know if any of you all are in Fort Worth, Texas, but if anyone listened to it, go to Born Late Records. It's in 2920 Race Street, Fort Worth, Texas, 76111. They have killer stuff. They have a lot of shit. And actually, it was like one of my favorite record stores that I ever went in my life.
They had like original pressings of everything. Show No Mercy, Hello Waits. They had some Mordred stuff, and Mordred, like CDs and anything, is hard to find because you know how they got screwed over by people and shit. Same thing with Violence, but they didn't have any Violence.
Damn.
Yeah. But that question was hard, man. Actually, I'm still thinking my 6.
I'll go while you're thinking of yours, Jorge.
Go ahead, Nick.
All right, Nick.
Right here, I was prepared.
He had his phone off to the side, looking through his library.
Yeah, I had to, man. I got to make sure I'm picking the right ones. I have to say, all of them are interchangeable except for these two. These are my top 2. These will always be my top 2 albums of everything. I'm always a thrash dude, but I love jazz, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Peace Sells and Ride the Lightning. The second album of Metallica and Megadeth, all-time favorite albums. Yeah, you could say that 10 years from now, and I guarantee you I'll probably say the same thing. I just love the guitar work, the drums, the bass. Everything on those albums to me is like perfect, in my opinion. Again, this is a Sacred 6 in personal opinion. So for the top 2, those definitely go. For the rest of them, they're interchangeable. One of my favorite albums right now, I'm gonna probably stay like saying this is one of my favorites, is By Inheritance by Artillery. Jorge showed me that. Like,
hell yeah!
He showed me that a couple weeks ago, and
Like it was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I cannot stop listening to this album. Guaranteed one of my favorites of all time.
As it stuck to his head.
Yeah. The next one is a live album from Cassiopeia. It's called Mint Jams Live. They play it exactly like the album, even better. It sounds better than any of the songs on the album, in my opinion. They're so accurate live. It's not even funny. They're like Rush live, just insanely very tight musicians, and especially for jazz with all those odd changes and that kind of stuff. It's really impressive to hear that stuff. Next one, I would have to say Bonded by Blood or Fabulous Disaster.
It's hard. It's hard, dude.
I would know Fabulous Disaster. That's what got me into what got me into Exodus. So Fabulous Disaster. What am I at? 5?
Yep.
5. Okay. So far, so good. So what? That's the last. I know a lot of people do not like that album, or it's very underrated. In
I'm
my
one of
opinion.
those people.
The song on that album, man, like Mary Jane, there was the one part in the song where it kind of like pans, and it has like the weird phaser kind of sound on it. Sounds awesome.
Yeah.
And Hook and Mouth, love that song. Same with Liar.
My
the bass on
Darkest
Hook and
Hour.
Mouth, that's also a really cool song. That
502 is badass too. 502.
Anyway, so I'd say those. Yeah, those are definitely my top 6.
All right.
Like it.
Jorge, your turn.
Damn. Okay, this is hard as shit. But I'll go with my favorite. That is this one.
Yeah, I knew it.
Twisted into Form, Forbidden. I think this is like my favorite album. Totally changed my life, saved my life as many times when I was alone and nobody wanted to help me. Then I'll go with Mordred Fool's Game. That is a fucking killer album that It's like one of the first bands. Actually, if it was not for Mordred, new metal will never exist, or rap and metal will never have collided together. Because Mordred was the first band of adding rap into metal, even before Rage Against the Machine, even before Anthrax collided with Public Enemy, or even before Anthrax did I'm the Man, like, and they're the first band that combined that, and it was like really early shit, and that album is really good. I recommend it. Fool's Game of Mordred. Then another one will be Sad Wings of Destiny by Judas Priest.
Oh
I think
yeah.
that album is like insane. Like when I heard it the first time, I was like, oh, wow! Like Rob Halford, he's a fucking god. He's the metal god. You know, he's like fucking killer. The solos, the production, like especially to be from that year. Like, if I'm not wrong, it's 1976. Especially from being from that year, from that era, like having that good quality that even um albums this year don't get that quality. It's crazy. And I think that would be the number three. Then the number four, I'll have to go with some Metallica, and I think my favorite Metallica album is between Justice Puppets or Ride the Lightning. I'll be happy taking any of those three. Like
Gotta
I
pick
think
one.
sometimes
Gotta pick one.
Ride the Lightning.
There you go.
Okay,
There
go
you
with
go.
Ride
There
the
you go, Pablo.
Lightning.
There you go.
So Ride the Lightning, I think, is like most of the time is my favorite one because I love how raw it sounds compared to Justice and Master of Puppets. It's like if you think about it, it's still heavy metal and it's still influenced by speed metal. It's like it's not just thrash metal all the way. Like I think it just is heavy metal. It's thrash metal. It has thrash parts, but it's like it's so advanced for that. And even songs like "Trapped on the Rise" is one of my favorite songs. The Call of Cthulhu is like blow minding. When you hear it the first time, it's like actually Ride the Lightning was the first ever vinyl I owned, and I had a Brazilian press that we bought with my friend. It was like in a Metallica band club. We were in Bolivia, and we bought it like for $20. And we were kids, we were like 14 years old, and we were like, okay, let's pay half and half, and we keep 1 week you, 1 week me, 1 week you, 1 week me, and so on. And we did that for a long time. And then after that, when I had to move here, I just gave him the fucking vinyl because I was not able to bring it. And I remember that. I remember hearing the Call of Cthulhu the first time on vinyl. Like, that fucking song changed my fucking life on vinyl. And I was like, this is so fucking crazy. Then, number 5, I'll go with, let me think. I will go with Violence Eternal Nightmare.
You're gonna say that name.
Nightmare. Yeah, Violence Eternal Nightmare is crazy as fucking hell.
I was
Totally
expecting that
changed my
one.
life about doing shit fast, doing shit aggressive and
Good call on that one.
speaking what I want to say, like speaking what you feel and singing as fucking hard as you can and just go violent, like I love that album. And I think the last one, it's fucking hard to choose. Actually, I had like 5 more to say, but I cannot say more than 6. But I'll go either with Anthrax Persistence of Time. That I think that album is so underrated and so overrated at the same time that people hate it and people love it. But that's my personally like one of my favorite thrash metal records, and it came after all the shit that grunge appeared, like it appeared exactly that moment, and they did like the biggest tour ever. Like I think Anthrax really did get really huge at that point in 1990 because they did the tour with Public Enemy. That it was like I think 20 dates where Public Enemy played and Anthrax played, and the last song they played it was always Bring the Noise. And then after that tour, they got like 2 months of rest, and then after that, they just went to do the Clash of the Titans with Megadeth and Slayer.
Yeah.
And then also it was like on the US leg it was with Alice in Chains, and then on the Europe leg it was Testament and Suicidal Tendencies. But it was like I think that album really influenced me more to keep living. You know, like to be strong in life. You know, after all the bullshit you are living or the bullshit you are happening or all the fucking fake people that try to drag you down, or even like your friends, your family, your people that you don't know or people that you know, your bandmates, whoever. I think that album, like whenever I was alone, it was like it really gave me one more hope to keep living. And then the last one I'll say, I think actually that was the number six,
That was your
but
six.
I can change that one with Testament, the Legacy,
Yes.
because I consider this album is 1987. I consider this album the first thrash metal album. Why I consider the first thrash metal album? Because this album was the first album that was influenced by thrash metal, and it's thrash metal. You know, it's like if you listen to Ride Aligning, Master of Puppets, Peace Sales, Killing Is My Business, even early Slayer. You know, even I think actually Raining Blood is one of them, but it's like Raining Blood is like have more punk, you know, on it. But it's like I think the legacy is like they got all the influences of those albums. Those albums that created thrash, they were influenced by speed metal, heavy metal, rock, or punk, early punk or crossover or hardcore. It was like I think the legacy was the first album in 1987 that really was influenced by all those albums that they were considered thrash metal already. So they took the influence of thrash metal to do thrash metal, and I think that was the starting of the second wave. Where that there you can come with Violence, Forbidden, Defiance, Mordred, Atrophy, and a lot of fucking bands that they released many shit on between 1987 and 1994 that they're killer shit. So I think that those are my picks. Those are my picks.
Some solid picks, Jorge.
Very solid.
And
Surprised you didn't say Among the Living.
Yeah, but Persistence, dude. Persistence
I would
is
agree.
badass.
Or Fistful of Metal. I mean, Anthrax has their early stuff is amazing in my opinion. I love.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think personally, like I like everything of Anthrax. Like the John Bush era is killer. Like Sound of White Noise, Stump. Oh, it's a Stump 488 if I'm not wrong. Then Body Made. They're killer stuff, but I think people hate it because it's not as thrash as it was in the first 5 albums. And of course, it was because grunge came on.
Yeah,
metal came on,
exactly right. I remember whenever White Noise came out. I mean, I remember whenever that it hit the shelves, and it was at a time whenever like grunge was like taking over the radio stations and all that shit.
Yeah.
So they were like trying to like stay within the parameters that was Anthrax, but at the same time trying to keep up with a trend that they had no business trying to fuck with. I mean, it just kept the thrash bread and butter and I think that's why there was so much controversy within the Anthrax faithful, at least regarding that album.
Yeah.
But man, what I want to say or ask y'all is that I'm not too familiar with the thrash scene in Houston, obviously because I'm here in Louisiana.
You live in Lafayette?
Yeah.
Nice.
Were you at the show where we played?
Actually, I wasn't. I was out of town whenever y'all were coming, and
Shit.
I'm really
We'll
pissed.
be back soon.
Was that when you were in Norway?
That's when I was in Norway. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Damn, that's cool
awesome,
actually.
man. What were you doing up in Norway?
Well, a couple of things. I went to the Inferno Black Metal Festival, and I got married in Denmark.
Wait, you did?
Oh,
Yeah.
congratulations,
I
man.
didn't know that.
You didn't know that? Yeah, at least who walked through.
Oh.
That's my wife now.
Oh, congratulations.
Congrats.
Last time I was on this
Congratulations, dude,
podcast,
for
she was
real.
your fiance.
That's right.
Yeah.
The
And he also got
Beyonce's your girlfriend,
that
boy?
sick ass arm tattoo in Norway.
Yeah, I got
Oh.
this. I don't know if y'all. It's Fenrir, the harbinger of evil. I got that tattooed by Miss Jannica Weiss Hansen, who she if you look familiar with black metal, Bursum.
Yeah,
And
I
then
know
more-
about
and-
Burson.
Yeah.
Well, she's the one who designed the early album covers
Oh.
So she did my
Oh,
tattoo.
that's cool.
Yeah.
I do like
Tattooed
the
by
album
her?
covers. Not a
Or
big
you got
fan
it
of Burzum,
designed?
though.
Wait, I'm sorry. Yeah, Nick was trying to say something. What?
My bad.
Wait, so you got it designed by her?
Okay. No, it's she designed
She
it.
tattooed it.
She tattooed it.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
that's
Completely
cool.
original. Like she drew this up with a Sharpie.
And they
It took
just
her
went
like
for it.
30 minutes to draw it up, and then I sat down for a total of like 6 hours. We took a break to go watch Creator and Toke. And
Damn, that's bad.
yeah, it was. I mean, this trip was by far. I don't know how I ever topped this trip that I came back
I think
from.
that's one of the coolest stories about a tattoo I've ever heard.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
Watch out.
So you did that? You did the tattoo at the same show?
Yes, at the
Damn,
at
that's
the,
really cool.
That's fucking badass.
at Inferno Festival. Watch out. I'll bring up a picture real quick.
Which one was your favorite band of the Inferno Festival?
Oh man, it's
Or
so
some
tough.
of your favorite? Like,
I mean,
the
I
ones
would
you
not
enjoy most?
see that's me and Yannicke right there.
That'll definitely
Damn,
do
that's so cool.
And but as far as the bands is concerned, Creator, dude, like I've been a Creator fan for as long as I can remember, and those dudes, it's like they're so tight, and just this show was incredible. But who stole the show for me? Besides, I mean, I knew Mayhem was gonna put on a hell of a show, but Whoredom Rife. I don't know if y'all guys heard about those guys. They're from
Never heard of them.
they're from Norway. They got, I mean, it's straight up like black metal, kind of thrashy at times, and dude, fucking insane. That's all I can say.
Like you were saying about Creator, that's one band I really feel like I need to get into because I hear so much about it. What would
Same.
you recommend
Dude,
album wise?
I've only heard good things about them live. Like I've always heard that that's like people's like favorite band they've ever seen.
Pleasure to Kill,
You know,
Extreme
I think,
Aggression,
yeah, Pleasure to Kill, and then my favorite Creator album actually is Come of Souls.
Como Souls, yes.
Come of Souls is badass. Like it's really, really good. And then Endless Pain is badass too. Creator.
Yep.
Those ones you
I
need
actually
to
had
check
that.
out.
I actually had that long sleeve shirt filled with the Endless Pain. Yes. But yeah, I was going somewhere with a question. As far as the Houston scene's concerned, man, like since y'all are a relatively young band, like have the older bands, I guess that's in that area, kind of like embraced y'all in the scene.
So the thing is that here, when I just moved here, I moved in 2020, January of 2020. When I was about to come here, like about to arrive here, I joined a lot of groups in Facebook, like Houston metal scene, or trying to get in touch with people, trying to, like, I had some friends that they knew or they came and played to here in Houston and stuff like that. And I tried to get in touch with a lot of people to try to find the scene, And at that point, when I just came here, I remember I went to some shows. I went to see Overkill. Then I went to some shows at Acadia and at the White Swan too. And it was like the scene, from what I saw at that point, it was mostly black, like underground black metal, underground death metal. And then there was a shit ton of progressive bands and a shit ton of fucking core bands. And it's like, I didn't see any thrash metal. And after that, when people told me what happened, it made sense. But at that point, I didn't see that Houston has a huge scene, But people told me that at that point, the biggest scene in 2020 it was the grindcore scene. And I didn't see that much because I just went to a few shows, and then I met my friends to start a thrash metal band that I played in Exitium for like 2 years. And it's like when we formed Exitium, it was like I tried to find the bands. Like I tried to find thrash metal, and there was none, man. Like the only band I can think of, it was the Virulent. And the Virulent is a band that is keep going. And actually we have a show with them. They're releasing their new EP on June 24th, and that's gonna be like the first official show of Nick as a bassist.
Jorge, remember
If you make it,
show. That's the
if
one
you
show.
make it, yeah, it's the one show. But the thing is that the Maryland, I know they existed, and they were like they released album already. But besides them, there was nothing. Like,
Wow.
and then we with Exidium, we started everything. We started playing shows, and we met the guys of Septic, and they were thrash metal too. Like they tried to be punk, but then when they we met each other, they were like for sure 100% sure that they wanted to do thrash metal.
Septic is the band with
And
Ian,
then
right?
after what?
Is Septic the band with Ian as the singer, right?
Ian
Yeah,
Sorrell.
Ian Sorolla.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Ian
I
is
get
the singer
confused
of
with all
Septic.
those bands a lot.
RG.
Yeah, so it's like then Septic and Exidium collided, and then after we collided with them, of course, I will say that Labyrinth was there, but it was not because we're not a band. Like it was just me that I was in Exidium, and Labyrinth was not a thing at that point because we didn't have anything. But I was there starting everything, you know.
Yeah.
So the thing is that after that we found the Lunatics. I found the Lunatics through Facebook, I remember, and then Septic found the guys of the Half Pipes. And the thing is that then after that, we did a show that it was the show that really defined it, the thrash metal scene, that it was called Embrace the Chaos. And that was the first Embrace the Chaos. It was 5 bands. It was one more band that is gone now. But the thing is that that show, I didn't expect people. It was in 2021. It was around May. COVID was a singular thing, and it was like I thought people was not gonna show up. To be honest, like I thought like 50 people were gonna show up, and then we got a crowd like of 180 people, something like that, at Super Happy Funland, and we were happy about it. We all were happy, and we had fun. We had the pit going. It was like, I think it was like one of the first Lunatic show. I think it was like the fourth Extreme show or fifth Extreme show. Septic was like the band that was like a little step up on us because I think they released some singles already. The only bands with music out at that point it was Extreme and Septic. And then after that, it just came like a fucking wave of bands. Like after that show, we met so much people, so many people that there were bands that they were already existed, but they didn't know that a scene existed. And it's like we all created a community, you know. Like then we met bands like the Posers that they were already a thing. We met we met
Posers are pretty like kind of an older band. Actually, kind of back to what he was saying because he had asked about how the older bands kind of took us in the scene, or did they at all? The Posers they're a bit older than kind of all of the groups that are around right now that are about our age. They're really nice people. They were really welcoming to
they're
us,
fucking
and I mean,
badass. And
in
actually, they're
that,
gonna release their first album on July 23rd.
Oh, cool.
And besides that, is like after that, there's like a dozen of bands right now, like thrash metal bands. We're young people,
Right.
like like not the average, but the range between the people is like 14 years old and 28, and it's like there's fucking a lot of young people, like, and people who comes to the show is young too,
Yeah.
and that's good because people really enjoy the thing. And I think like after creating like the thrash metal community here is like besides supporting between each other, we really got into trying to be nice and collide with other scenes, like other genres,
Yeah.
Before COVID, it was like people really tagged every band different, and there was not support between the bands. But it's like now, like the thrash metal bands get good with the punk bands, for example, like the punk metal scene, or with the grindcore metal scene, or with the progressive metal scene. And it's like that huge that everyone supports between each other, and I think that's a good thing of Houston.
So,
And like
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
uh-huh. And like passing through the years, like starting this year, 2022, you see like a list of fucking a lot of bands. Like, you see new bands coming like Beretta, Labyrinth, Nemesis. Then you find bands that they were already there, like the Posers, like I was saying, and you met people that they were already in the scene way before you. And they told me, in 2015, there was a fucking huge thrash metal scene in Houston. And that scene had like bands like Thrash 6 that they're not around anymore. Then the Scourge that they are going on still, and funny thing about a great fact of the Scourge is that the same people of the Scourge play in Hellstar. That is that legendary power metal band from Houston. from the 80s. Then they had bands like Metalize, that is another thrash metal bands that uh, all of these bands were like in 2015, and then something happened in 2016 or 2017 that it went down, and the only band that really prevailed it was, I think, the Virulent. But many of these bands are coming back again. So it's like everything is recreating again, and now we are like a dozen of bands, or even a little bit more of them, that we're young and we're trying to do the same thing. We're trying to push all this shit.
Right on.
And what I'm trying to do is trying to find band all around the country and make it work.
I get it. So what's new next on the horizon for Labyrinth? You got anything planned as far as shows? Any new releases coming out? Nick?
Angel. Angel talk.
Or Angel?
I don't know how much I'm allowed to say, but
Yeah, Jorge, I'm surprised you're not the one talking.
yeah.
I mean,
Now that we're back from tour, we're kind of planning on taking like a week, about 3 weeks, to finish recording an EP that we got started on before we took off on tour. We were hoping to get that started, and planning some big shows, trying to bring in bigger names in the metal community into Houston, and kind of basically turn the Gulf Coast, the Houston area, into the next Bay Area.
Yeah, Gulf Coast Thrash. I remember that. Yeah.
and the thing is that like for future shows, actually, we have some things planned out. Like our next show is gonna be on June 23rd, and then
You said the 25th
after that,
earlier, then you said the
24th. It's 24th. It's 24th. We have June 24th that is gonna be at Black Magic here in Houston. Then we're gonna have a show on July 15th. That is gonna be at the end. That's gonna be a really big show because that show is gonna be like we're bringing bands from out of town. We're bringing this fucking awesome band that you should check out. They're called Sporadix. They're from the Bay Area, California. They're a new band, and they released a demo actually on Spotify, and it's really killer. Like I really dig that shit. Then there's this other band from New Mexico that is coming called Lacerator. And then we have like 4 local bands to fill in for that show that we're going to announce soon. Then we got another one that is July 23rd. And then on August, we're going to start planning a lot of other things for the release, for the future release we have. So it's going to be like, we have a lot of planning out, and we're trying to put more music out, more original music out for people to hear it. Like after releasing that demo, we received a lot of support of the people. Like many people dig our music, but besides that, they enjoy it and they understood the message, what we're saying. That is, live your life and do thrash metal.
It's even better when you play the originals live and you get better of a crowd reaction than you do with the covers. That's something that feels great.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, with the 3 live songs that I played with Void, I mean, the reception is just amazing. And y'all's demo, the first time I heard it was Jackson showed it to me in his truck at like midnight. And, we were a little inebriated, but he showed it to me.
Not
like,
that I condone underage drinking.
We do not condone underage drug use or drinking or anything.
Especially on the podcast.
Especially
Jesus
on the
Christ.
podcast, but it just blew our minds. And Jackson was like, "Bro,
stories.
I quit music. This is too good."
This is fictional.
And like, just y'all's demo just blew us both away, and it sounded great through the truck stereo as well. But yeah, and when I heard the full release with Daedalus and the fight, like just and hearing it all live, I mean. Y'all are. I like where y'all stuff is going, and I'm excited to see where it goes. And y'all scene is amazing. It's one of the most accepting, biggest scenes I've ever seen. Like never have I seen, such a large group of people.
Say scene one more time.
Scene. I never have I seen such a large group of people from
time.
such different backgrounds and like. Race, ethnicity, orientation, like none of that mattered. It's all just for the love of music and for having fun in the pit. Like the Houston scene's wild. But it's just a great time.
I was gonna say another thing you were talking about, like what's next for Labyrinth. Well, since I'm relatively new, I wasn't able to work on any of the bass stuff for the EPs, or for the demo. I mean,
The first demo, yeah.
I'm really excited to be able to work with Jorge because in Nemesis I write all of the music and I have such a blast putting together all the music, but I do it by myself, so I can't wait to work with another musician who writes music and enjoys the same things that I do, and live shows and stuff like that. Me, Jorge, and Angel on stage click.
That's awesome. Well,
And that's a good thing. Like when you write music, I think that if a person writes everything, it's cool. But if like a band writes everything, like if the 4 people that are in the band writes everything, it's more fun, and that's what we experience with a song that we have that is gonna be on the EP. It's called Endless Cycle. Like I wrote a lot of the riffs, but Angel and Hayden helped with the lyrics. And then it's like we all enjoyed more playing that song because besides it's a fun song and it's a great song, in our opinion, we really work together for something. And it's like when you work together as a team, it's better, Like I think that's what I really fucking enjoy. Anthrax, for instance, like compared to Megadeth, I love Megadeth, but it's like on Megadeth I just see one person playing. And it's like, if I see Megadeth live, I just see Dave Mustaine. It's not like you're seeing a band. You're seeing just Dave Mustaine. It's like, it's something I don't want to. If it's like that, I'd rather call the fucking band just my name, or just the name of the person who's writing everything. Like Van Halen.
that'd be a pretty sweet band name, Jorge.
Jorge.
Wait, how do you say your last name?
Montano.
Montano.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool band name.
I like that, Montano.
Montano.
Or
And the logo can be a
Nemesis just being
mountain.
called Broussard.
Jorge and the Montaños.
Sounds like a band name full of balls.
I think that like comment that great stuff is made when like every band member contributes. I think one of the best examples is "Love Song" by The Cure. I think that's the only song that The Cure, like every single member, helped write, and it's probably the most popular. And I think that kind of like that's like the shiny star. Like if you all put your heads to it, like everyone in the band, you can probably you pop out some of your best material.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I run that.
Well, dudes, thank y'all so much for coming on board the podcast. And y'all need to give me a shout. Now, you got my Instagram, y'all got my Discord now, so give me a shout whenever y'all come through Lafayette.
For sure, man. And we can hang out and
absolutely
go to record stores or go to shows.
Hell yeah.
The only record store we got around here is Lanyap. Pretty
Is it
pretty
good?
good record store, but their metal section's very small. But there's some decent picks in there.
But we got some damn good food, though.
That's true.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nick knows all about that. His
Like
last name is Broussard.
Yeah, my last name's Broussard. My dad's side of the family's from around Louisiana area, so I had a.
Oh, your last name was not Crawfish?
What?
Dang. All right.
Okay, bye-bye, guys.
But no, there was
Interesting.
this really cool record store in New Orleans we went to. We could totally go to that one. It's the one that
Culture
Jorge bought
Vulture?
the Artillery album. at.
Oh, yeah.
That
That one
record
was a
store.
killer one.
Do you remember what that was? What was it called?
Was it Culture Vulture?
Thanks. No, Culture Vulture. We went to Culture Vulture and actually got a Testament shirt. And Angel got
That's
another
how I
shirt.
got
I
my
don't remember
Testament
what
shirt.
he got.
Tiger Spang Tang. Great classic heavy.
Yeah, he got that one. And then I don't remember the name of the record store. But I got Artillery there, the vinyl. And then Nick was like, oh, let's listen to that band. And then we heard it and I blew his mind with that band. It was badass.
All right,
But
man.
to finish this, I just want to invite everyone to go listen to our music on Spotify, Apple Music.
Oh,
go
yeah.
to Bandcamp.
Shit, I'm glad-
If you
I'm-
wanna.
Glad you reminded me. You can catch Labyrinth on Spotify. Are y'all on Bandcamp?
Yeah, Bandcamp. They can order CDs there too.
And
We're coming with new CDs and merch.
And shout out to the socials. What's the socials?
So the socials, you just search Labyrinth Thrash and it will appear. So it's LABYRINTH Thrash.
There you go.
Labyrinth Thrash, all in one word.
And if y'all want to be part of the conversation on Tales from the Riff, y'all can hook us up. Shoot us a DM on Instagram, tales.from.the.riff. Yeah. Something like that.
It'll pop up.
And follow them,
Tales from the Riff podcast is on Facebook. Catch us on there. And yeah. Matthew, thanks for joining me, man.
It was great. I hope to be on here soon.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're right down the road.
Matt.
So
We'll see you soon.
I will see you guys soon. I'll try to make one of your shows in the summer.
You better, Matt.
You're better, Matt.
I'll roadie for y'all.
Don't be gay.
Yeah, no, be my bass tech.
Oh, I'll be your bass tech. I got you.
All right, I'm down with that. I was yours for a show at one of Void's at Trip Episode.
You were?
Whatever it was called.
Yeah. All right. Well, go follow their stuff. Follow Tales from the Riff.
follow Matthew on Instagram as well.
Yeah.
What's your
Follow
handle, buddy?
everyone you can
Matthew
on
Steven
Instagram.
Couv.
There you go. And we are out.
Thank you so much, dude. I appreciate it a lot.